HubSpot natively offers properties for CRM. These properties correspond to the basic information that the majority of companies use of the daily management of their leads. However, there is a strong chance that this information may not be sufficient for your sales process and that you may need to create your own properties. By the end of this video, you will know how to create your own properties on HubSpot and how to set them up for the best possible use. I assume that you know what a HubSpot property is. If not, I invite you to watch the first video of this series explaining the structure of your HubSpot CRM. But in a few words, a property is a type of information that we want to collect and store in our CRM for a contact or a company, for instance. So the first question we want to answer is why create your own properties? We need to know that a property can play several roles. First, it can be informative. Simple information about a prospect to facilitate a sale, for instance. So the phone, the profession, the industry, etc. This property could be operational. So a validation step for an internal process. For instance, you can think about an information deciding on the qualification of a lead or not, the annual revenue, the country, the age, etc. A property can also be analytical. It could be reporting data, so number of forms submitted, time spent on the site, etc. And any other use you can come up with. I guess you will have understood now the properties are the main tool of the organization of your CRM and your operations. They therefore need to be adapted perfectly to your company. So let's take our example of the first video of a company that sells weight loss products. Our product is prohibited for people with a BMI below 30. It is therefore crucial to be able to retrieve the BMI information of our leads to qualify them. However, BMI is a bit niche for property, so HubSpot does not natively offer us this BMI property, so we will have to create it. And we will now create the BMI property together. Just a quick break to inform you that this video is part of a free training focusing on how to set up your HubSpot portal in the most efficient way possible. This free training will be divided into 7 big modules, each addressing a specific key point of your HubSpot portal. And each module consists into several videos that will go deeper into a specific functionality or feature of your HubSpot portal. If it's not already the case when you watch this video, the videos in this series will be published gradually and they will be added to this specific playlist. I have also prepared a private web page bringing together all the different content of this free training and some additional bonus content. So to benefit of this free content and to be notified for every new chapter that is releasing, I invite you to click on the link in the description below. So to create our BMI property or any other properties, we need to go up there to settings, scroll down to data management and choose properties. You will then arrive on the property management page with the list of all existing properties and the possibility to modify them or create new ones. The first question to ask yourself is, for what object will I create this property? Is it for a contact, a company, a deal, or what? Because we remember that each object has its own properties and they are not shared. In our case, we want to know the BMI of an individual, so it's a contact property. We verify that we are in the Contact Property tab and we can click on Create a Property. So now we end up with a 3-step form with basic information, field type, and rules. For basic information, you just need to verify the concerned object, in our case, contact, choose a group. So groups are like folders on your computer. They simply serve to group your properties together to facilitate their identification. You can create new ones if needed by going to the Group tab and click on Create. In our case, it's Contact Information. Then you need to fill the label. So what is a label? Is the name of the property. Be careful, there is 2 names. There's the external name, the one visible to the user, and the internal name visible to the software, so HubSpot and integrated software. So by default, it's the same as the external name, but with lowercase. But if you need, you can modify it as you want. And the last field is the description. So the description is used to explain the role and use of the property. It may seem a bit too much, but trust me, as time goes by and properties accumulate, and when the portal management passes from one person to another, this description saves a lot of time. It should answer the simple question, what will this information be used for, how do I retrieve it, and how do I plan to handle it? In our case, we want this property to allow us to divide our contact into two bases, those with a value less than 30 and those with a value equal or greater than 30. We plan to retrieve this value on a form and handle it with a less than or greater than filter. So we just need to write down exactly what we just answered. When it's done, you can click on next and you will arrive on the field type. And the field type is the most important step of the property creation process. So a type corresponds to the way the data is stored, and each type allows different manipulation. For instance, a single line text is a string of characters and can be manipulated with contains X, starts with X, and with X, etc. While a number is manipulated with less than, more than, between X and Y, etc. Another very used example is a drop-down select, which is a list of pre-recorded value. We manipulate it with is value equal to X or Y, is not equal to X or Y, etc. So taking our description again, we realize that the most suitable choice for BMI property is the number type. We select it and we click on next. And we arrive to the last step, which is the creation of rules. For form properties, it's important to set them up to avoid having skewed or poor quality data. For instance, a BMI must be between 10 and 60, so we can set a minimum and maximum value. So we click on set minimum value, we choose 10, maximum value, we choose 60. And why we do that, it means that when this value will be on a form, if a lead fills the form and putting a value that is not between those two numbers, it means it didn't really understand what a BMI is, or it mistype the information, so the form will block him to submit his result. So we need to go back to this property and put a normal number. Then simply click on create and you're good with your first property. You can find it by typing his name here. You can see it's here. Actually, for the BMI property, we could have gone further. The reality is that no one really knows their BMI by heart, so it will block many users at this stage of our form, impacting our conversion rate. Instead, we could have created three properties, so height, weight, BMI, ask on our form for the first two, and use BMI in calculation type to automatically generate the right value based on the weight and height of each lead. If you're interested in understanding how calculation property works, I can make a video on it if you want. But before I let you go, I would like to show you the importance of the choice of property type with the example of a native HubSpot property, which is country region. So this property is a native HubSpot property, which means it's on every single portal and is supposed to store the country of a specific lead. But what we can see on this property is that it's a single line text property, which means that if we put this property on a form, people will be able to write whatever they want as it's a string of characters. So if everyone can put any information they want, we will never have a really clear value for a specific information. And I will show you an example in a minute why it's important. So if you want to create a property to store the country information, we want people to be able to only pick the good choice, so everyone will have the same value. In that case, we saw that a drop-down select property might be a better use. So to make it happen, we just click on create property. It's a contact information, and let's call it country 2. Oops. And instead of choosing single line text like HubSpot did, we will choose drop-down select. You have two options. Either you type down every single countries to make your list by your hand, or you can just simply load options, choose country, and let HubSpot do it automatically for you. And as we see, we have all the different countries of the world in a specific list. We create this property, and I will show you on a form the difference between these two different types. So now we have a form with the two kind of property. The HubSpot one, which is a single line text, or the country 2, which we created together, and it's a drop-down menu. Now let's say I'm a lead that is from UK. In country region, I can write, I don't know, England, UK, United Kingdom, or even the same thing with mistyping. And for each of these different way of writing UK, we we will have a different value, which is not good because at some point we will want to, identify all our UK leads and it will not be possible because of that. But if you choose a drop-down menu property like we did, you can just click on please select, scroll down to United Kingdom, and you can be sure that every single leads that are from UK will have this exact value on their profile. So now that you know how to create HubSpot properties in the best possible way, I invite you to take the time to first list all the information necessary for the smooth running of the company. And for each piece of information you list, identify the concerned object. What will this information be used for? How do you plan to retrieve it? And how do you plan to handle and manipulate it? And the most important, of course, is what is the most suitable type for these information. I hope you enjoy this video. If it's the case, don't forget to put a thumbs up, to subscribe to this channel, and to save this playlist to make sure you don't miss any new chapter of this free training. And don't forget the link in the description below that gives you this free access to all the content of this free training, plus more additional content on how to set up your HubSpot portal in the most efficient way possible. For those who are discovering me through this video, I'm Grégoire, HubSpot expert for more than 7 years now, and I will see you very soon for more HubSpot tips.